So Seth Rollins is out. Seth Rollins is out for who knows how many months. We didn't get a specific number from WWE. Many have speculated 6 months. I am optimistic he'll be back before WrestleMania. That's just my own hunch. I'm sure that's what they're aiming for as well. And I think this is going to be an interesting time in the company, specifically in the world title side, as we have CM Punk challenging Jey Uso at Saturday night's main event. The winner will become the new world heavyweight champion on the Monday Night Raw side. Yes, Jey Uso, not LA Knight. No, not LA Knight. We have Jey Uso once again. And I'm not sure what the company is really thinking here. I mean, if the idea is to start the official turn of Jey Uso as well, then congratulations, you're on the road. Because Jey Uso for a while has been teetering on heel. We know that. There's been a lot of tension between him and Jey, him and Roman specifically. And this past week with Jey eliminating Jimmy and LA Knight, I think that adds to that narrative if you want to go down that road. Would I go down that road? I'm not against Jey turning heel. I'm against Jey competing against his brother. We've been here. It feels like we were just here. We were just here at WrestleMania 40. I know that him and Jey had a match, and it was regarded as one of the worst matches of the entire PLE. It was horrible, which is maybe the only time in history that you could say Jimmy and Jey had a bad match. I mean, they're so talented. But with the overuse of the super kicks, the match was just, it was not good. I mean, they spent so much time being partners, they don't know how to be opponents. So I maybe things have changed, and I'm not going to go off the rails about it. I'm not going to lose my mind about it. But if they're going Jimmy versus Jey again, then, it is what it is. I don't personally think that it's a great idea. I've never been on board with Jimmy and Jey again, but it's a different year. They're not a part of the bloodline anymore. They're still loosely aligned with Roman Reigns, who pops in and out of television. So, I mean, I'll watch, but maybe there is an audience out there who wants this. I really, at least right now, I don't. But unless, again, if it's to turn Jey heel and then you have another top heel on Run It at Raw, that's fine. Because don't forget, Seth Rollins is now on the shelf for the foreseeable future. So you need to replace that top heel. And yes, Braun and Bronson can fill that role, but they can't fill Seth's role. They already had their own role of being heels. So that to me is something that's going to need to be filled. And you could have Jey Uso make that case. Now, does that mean CM Punk's going to lose the belt or lose the world championship at Saturday night's main event? Maybe he'll lose the match. He's not champion, but he'll lose the match and Jey becomes champion. I'll say this. If Jey becomes champion, you can throw any idea of Jey being a babyface out the door, because when it comes to the fans choosing between Punk and Jey, they're going to choose Punk. They just will. He's a bigger star. He hasn't really had a proper run as champion. You're going to take that to the bank that the fans are going to side with CM Punk if they're forced to choose, and they might be forced to choose. They're going to be forced to choose at Saturday night's main event in Salt Lake City, which of course is coming to us in a week and a half. So interesting development. We'll get more into the Battle Royal as we get on into the show here. But first I want to welcome you. If you're new, thank you. You can head on over to patreon.com/WWE podcast if you want to go ad free, along with a bunch of other benefits, including shout outs and coming on the show and all the rest of it. So check it out. You also get access to a Discord server, and that's available on Patreon. So let's dive into it. And by the way, guys, if you are interested in an NXT review, if you love NXT and you want to be a part of the show, NXT is a great show. I know it is, because I had several people do it throughout the years, and it got me starting to watch a little bit of NXT, as much as I could. And I know that it's a show that a portion of our audience do watch. So if you are interested in NXT, you love what's going on there, or you're just passionate about wrestling, send a message to me at my email address. Okay. mailbag@wwepodcast.com. and send me an audio clip, 5 minutes or less, just talking about NXT. And then that way we can get an idea of how you sound and all the rest of it. So, okay. Well, let's get into it. Let's start with Monday Night Raw. We'll start right at the top here. We'll start with, what was the open? I got to look at the review here. Oh, Adam Pearce is in the ring. He was announced by Lillian Garcia, who just doesn't age. She's found the fountain of youth. Like her and AJ Lee, for some reason, they have been able to identify the holy grail of the fountain of youth. I don't know how they do it, but we have Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, and Paul Heyman exiting a truck backstage. Breaker had the world championship over his shoulder as they walked through the backstage area and made their entrance and joined Pearce inside the ring. Pearce said he knew Seth Rollins was injured coming out of his match with Cody and said Rollins underwent major surgery and would be on the shelf for a while because of what Breaker and Reed did to him. Well, I have to step in here because you guys know I'm a big fan of logic. How are you telling me that he's injured coming out of the match? Pearce said he knew that Rollins was injured coming out of the match with Cody, yet he's blaming the surgery on what happened because of what Breaker and Braun did to him. But no, I know they're trying to have their cake and eat it too and put the blame on Breaker and Reed and give them heat. Like, you got to pick one. You got to pick one. You can't have both. You can't tell me you knew he was injured and still having him, by the way, competing in an upcoming match at Saturday Night's Main Event, but then also say that, well, no, I knew he was injured, but the reason he had surgery is because of Breaker and Reed. Like, stop. Fine. It's just sometimes the insult on our intelligence is striking. So Pearce did say a new world champion will be crowned at Saturday Night's Main Event. He said CM Punk earned the number one contender status last week and that he would be in the match. Pearce said that there would also be a battle royal on tonight's show to determine who would face Punk for the world title. Pearce told Breaker that the belt no longer belongs to Rollins, and it sure as hell doesn't belong to you. He asked and demanded that Breaker hand it over to him, and Breaker said, "You didn't say please," which was really actually pretty good. I mean, Breaker could be babyface really at any moment if they really wanted to switch him. Fans love brand new toys to play with. And Breaker right now is playing that heel role. But if they wanted to, Breaker could, I mean, pun intended, break out and be a babyface if they really wanted him to be. But we did have Breaker say that, or tease that he would hand the belt to Pearce, but he handed it to Heyman, who then handed it to Pearce. And then Heyman asked the fans why they're so mad at him. And he said he watched, and this is, again, what are we doing here? Paul Heyman then says that he watched WWE Unreal, and this gets worse, and he gets that they're the bad guys and the villains or the heels. And Heyman said the vision had nothing to do with Rollins, and that Heyman said he made the move at WrestleMania because Breaker is the future. And Paul said that he made the move because he always knew that Reed was better than Roman Reigns. Oh, really? Did you? Okay, there's multiple levels of problems with this, despite the fact that it's Paul Heyman saying these words, which somehow to many people absolves him of having to just deal with logic and common sense. Okay, first of all, number one, and least importantly, no, you certainly did not believe that Bronson Reed, an upcoming star that did nothing other than his biggest achievement up until that point was injuring Seth Rollins, quote unquote. Remember the 6 tsunamis? And then, of course, when Seth came back, he brought Bronson Reed on, a la the Vision. But up until that point, Bronson Reed had really done not a whole lot. He had a program with, who was it? Braun Strowman. That's who it was. He had a program with Braun Strowman. That was a lot of fun. And he was tsunamiing people off of ambulances and, high places. And that was cool. But you can't tell me that Paul Heyman's character believes that it was actually true, that the truth was Bronson Reed was better than Roman Reigns. Really? Like an 8-time WrestleMania main eventer, was champion for nearly 4 years, held every championship WWE has to offer, box office attraction, needle mover, all the rest of it, face of the company, record sales and merch. I mean, the list goes on. And, we're supposed to believe that the character of Paul Heyman knew that Bronson Reed is better than Roman Reigns. Anyway, again, these things are just things that he says that no one's going to check him on except I do. Also, he said that the vision had nothing to do with Rollins. Well, it's true that any group is built to push forward younger talent. At least that should be the principal purpose of any faction that gets started, right? It should be, because you got to build new single stars. That's fine. I actually don't have a ton of problem with that, because it really isn't about Seth Rollins. I mean, it is, but it's not. The short term, it's about Seth, but it's a long-term vision, which means the vision. I mean, the group is so aptly named, it's hard not to pun it. I mean, the way you describe the group is actually the way that the group is designed in real life. So the name is very apropos. So I actually don't have a problem with that. But then him talking about the heels and how we're the heels and the bad guys and we watch on Real. So it's like a meta kind of fourth wall breaking, but we're still in the show. So hopefully you guys come along, but we're heels and we're the bad guys. But did you see the show about the show that we're doing right now, of which we're scripted to say what I'm saying right now? And also, please believe us. Do you see the stupidity of constantly bringing, again, it's just, I don't see the need for this. It doesn't make things more real or make people invest more by telling the fans all the time that what they're watching is scripted, even if what they're saying is a meta thing to say. It doesn't make it more real. It's like Inception. I mean, we've all seen that, right? With Leonardo DiCaprio. It's like a dream within a dream within a dream. Am I still in a dream, but it's a dream? Am I dreaming that I'm dreaming? Am I stuck in a dream even though I woke up? That's where I'm at. My head is just spinning on this crap. How about we just not try to reinvent the damn wheel here? You know what it means? It just means try to make people believe without trying to be more real. Because being more real about talking about the business you're in makes it less real and reminds fans, oh, wait, yeah, crap. Like what we're watching is silliness. What we're watching is completely fabricated. It's completely contrived. It was created in a boardroom with Triple H and his goons. That's where this was created. Oh yeah, that's right. Thanks for reminding me, Paul. I don't know. I know a lot of you just glance over this and go, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. It's Paul. I don't absolve Paul Heyman, as great as he is. I don't absolve him or his character from saying these things. Is it sacrilegious? To me, it is. Against pro wrestling. It is, because I like things just the way they were in terms of just trying to have some respect for the business. This is a complete disrespect for the business that everyone has just got accustomed to and everyone's okay with. Everyone just lets it go. Everyone just, who cares? It's 2025. As if the year has anything to do with how you should respect or not respect something. Again, like you'll hear that being used for so many different things. It's 2025. And then insert X thing that suddenly is acceptable that is, previously wasn't. And the year is just supposed to explain away all the reasons why something doesn't matter anymore. You hear that a lot about it, a lot of stuff, do you not? And not just wrestling. It's 2025. It's not 1958 anymore. You could use that. Again, we won't talk about those things on this show, but you know what I'm talking about with a lot of just cultural stuff. And with wrestling, this is no different. I'm sure a lot of people, it's 2025. It's not 1996 or whatever. Again, doesn't mean that just because it's 2025 that your vision, no pun intended, of what wrestling should be is a better version of it. Progression doesn't mean improvement. Progression doesn't automatically mean better. And moving forward in time doesn't necessarily mean better. Sometimes the formula can be very simple and the formula doesn't need to change. But a lot of people think it does. I don't. So that means I'm right. Everyone else is wrong. That's I guess the bottom line here. So, okay. I promise we're not going to make the rest of this show this long. I really do. I pinky promise. So Paul Heyman then continues. It was the vision over the bloodline. He said Rollins couldn't shoulder. Nice little wordsmithing there. He couldn't shoulder the responsibility of leading the vision into the future. Heyman called Rollins a bum shoulder bitch. That was, again, for all the criticism I just gave the writing for this segment, you turn it around and you say this stuff, it's good stuff. I mean, it just is the way Heyman said it. He said that winners write history. Heyman said Rollins was going to main event WrestleMania, but that spot was taken from him by Breakker. Heyman said Breakker and Reed conspired to take that away from Rollins, and they have the vision and intensity to become WrestleMania main eventers. So there you go. I mean, again, the expectation that Braun Breaker is going to be a main event, a main event of WrestleMania continues to loom large over his head. I've never heard anyone say this ever about any talent ever up and coming. Are they that confident? Are they that sure? Are they that completely they're completely all in on Braun Breaker? You could argue right now that he's the front runner to win the Royal Rumble this year for 2026. The way that they're talking, I mean, yes, you have Sami Zayn in there, and kind of an early look here. Sami Zayn, you have LA Knight, who continues to be a perennial kind of outside talent that you're thinking he could or should win this year. And we'll talk about LA Knight. Don't worry. I know a lot of people are really upset about what happened at a Monday Night Raw and the Battle Royal. But yeah, I mean, you have LA Knight. Of course, you have Jey Uso floating out there. You could have Roman Reigns floating out there. You could have Cody Rhodes floating out there, unless he's, well, he's champion right now. But if he drops the belt before, and I don't think he will, so I don't think actually Cody Rhodes will be involved. But you've got some front runners, and yes, Bronson Reed. So Braun Breaker certainly could be your front runner right now for the Royal Rumble if you're looking that far ahead. So we have the next segment here with Finn Balor and JD McDonough, first match here, taking on AJ Styles and Dragon Lee for the World Tag Team titles. And if you listen to me on my weekend review show, you knew that I was of the belief that this is a title-changing matchup because the titles haven't really been in the focus of WWE for a while. The people who are or individuals holding the belt at this point have been kind of quiet. And when that happens and they suddenly out of nowhere put the titles up, and this goes across the board, men's singles title, women's singles title, tag titles, it doesn't matter. You kind of know that that's a indication they're about to switch things up and start to focus on them, but not with that current champion holding the belt. They're going to make a change. And that's exactly what happened here, but it's the right call. So here's the finish as AJ Styles and Dragon Lee win the World Tag titles to a big pop. McDonough tags out and hit Styles with the moonsault. Balor ends up following with a coup de grace. He covered Styles, and McDonough tried to block Lee, who dove over him to break up the pin. Balor set up Styles for a Styles clash, but then Styles avoided it and hit the move on Balor before pinning him. I'm shocked that we didn't have Dom somehow involved in this. That's the only piece I thought was missing, is that we didn't have finally a Dom versus Finn matchup. That has been going on for, I mean, at this point, it feels like 12, 18, 24 months that we've been teased a Dom versus Balor match. And I figured this could be a great opportunity to go there and to start burning that program red hot, where Balor gets, starts to flip out on Dom for a miscue or something during that finish, where Dom could be the reason for the loss, and that didn't happen here. So, all right. But again, cool to see AJ Styles and Dragon Lee win the World Tag Team titles. Cool to see really AJ do anything at this point because of his impending retirement next year that I believe is all but confirmed. So it should be fun to watch AJ and Dragon Lee defend the tag team titles, have a nice little run for a while. I don't think they'll hold them more than 3-4 months. You actually could be all the way to maybe January at the latest, maybe into WrestleMania, deep into WrestleMania season. I have my doubts that you're going to have AJ and Dragon Lee go that far, a 6-month run. But as long as you can keep these two going, is it not fun as hell to watch these two work? It's great. So, okay. The next segment here, Jimmy Uso is in the dressing room taping his fingers. Jey Uso comes in. Jimmy asked if he was supposed to acknowledge Jey now, and Jey conceded that what he told Jimmy last week wasn't right. Jey said he was mad at himself for making the same mistake he did in Paris and mentioned something about Big Us. And Jimmy cut him off and said Roman wouldn't be in the Battle Royal later in the show, but they will. And Jimmy said Jey didn't lose his title because he stuck his neck out to help people. He lost it because he, quotes, Jey stopped believing in Jey. And Jey said Jimmy was right and then added that Roman might be right too. Jey asked if they were good, and that was that. So seemingly things are smoothed over. The tension that was boiling up last week at this point seemingly was being kind of dealt with. And that, of course, changed again through the course of the night. Okay. So continuing, we then have Dom versus Rusev for the Intercontinental title. The match went 9.5 minutes with Dominic beating Rusev. As expected, it was just a matter of how he was going to do it. And the fans were all behind him cheating to win. I mean, number one, because Rusev is not a beloved character in the babyface role anyway, in the company. We have Dominic, who's been here a while. People are really starting to warm up to his character. They see a lot of Eddie Guerrero in his character. He's taken his lumps and bumps and losses, and it's just time for people to come full circle on him and start to embrace him again. And that's exactly what's happening. Dominic, the finish, if you're interested and didn't see it, was Dom going for a 619, but Rusev blocked it. He found the timekeeper's hammer, Rusev did, in Dom's boot and took it. And then Rusev wound up with the hammer. He was going to hit him, but the ref stopped him. And then as the referee's back was turned, Dom kicked Rusev's right in the nuts. He kicked him in the backside, but it was supposed to be a low blow. It's fine. Dom then hit the 619 and a frog splash for the victory. So after the match, Penta hit the ring. And then hit Rusev with a springboard DDT. Penta pointed at Dom, who was watching from the stage. This is, I hope they continue. Don't screw with Dom. Don't try to turn him back heel. There's no need to try to reignite that nuclear heat. You're not going to be able to recreate it, even if you wanted to. It's something the fans just decide to have to do, and they're not going to be manipulated by WWE at this point, I don't believe. I think if you keep Dom on this course and continue to have him in a position to squeak out a victory from a more dominating opponent, it's a great place for him to be. He's now the underdog. He's not that smarmy little heel that is always barking and you just want to punch his face. He's transitioned to the underdog because he's not a muscle bound guy. He's got some height, but his muscle mass is very low compared to most of the wrestlers. So he automatically has that sympathy there, and his mullet and his mustache are now something that's endearing. His style of trying to retain. How is he going to lie, cheat, and steal his way out of this tonight? The spirit of Eddie Guerrero has now taken over Dom, and I hope they run with it. They've got something here with Dom. We've been through the booze, the years of booze. Let this ride. They have something special here. It's really just kind of obvious here. I mean, they've got Dom in a great position, and I hope they continue to push forward and have a longer run than anyone expects with that Intercontinental title. I think they could have a lot of fun with Dom, and we'll have to see how long they go or what their plans are and when the Finn Balor hammer drops. Okay, so Maxine Dupree warmed up while Otis and Akira Tozawa fired her up. And she came out with Otis and Akira as she took on Becky Lynch for the women's Intercontinental title. And Lillian Garcia delivered the in-ring introductions. The match went 9 minutes and 45 seconds with Maxine Dupree beating Becky Lynch, but by DQ, thereby allowing Becky Lynch to retain the Intercontinental Championship. But this is also a surprisingly fun program. I mean, you have Maxine Dupree. I mean, remember the whole fan video that came out where Maxine was at a live event, or it might have been, I think it was non-televised, but if it was televised, it was during or after the match she had on Raw or something. Regardless, it was a match. After the match, you had the fans say how she sucked and she doesn't know how to wrestle and all the stuff. And all the other women's wrestlers came to her defense. Rhea Ripley came to her defense. Everybody came to her defense. I did not come to her defense. For my money, you put yourself in that position voluntarily. You kind of know that, sure, you have to cut your teeth in front of live fans, but you know that if you get into this business, fans can be ruthless. That just comes with the territory. You aren't owed anything. You know, you don't deserve anything. You earn respect. You earn your way up. You earn the fans' respect. The fans are going to hammer you for a while. Even if you suck in the ring, fans will be able to easily detect it, but it won't last long, because if they see you continue to improve, they'll respect that. And that's where Maxine's at. So, I mean, I never bought into that, and I never discourage fans from telling wrestlers they suck and can't wrestle, because if the wrestler's skin is that thin, then they don't belong in the ring anyway. Like you don't belong in that profession. This goes for any public profession where criticism is a part of the game. You're getting paid to be there. You're not a slave who's, working for pennies or getting, paid nothing to be in the ring. You are voluntarily there with the full knowledge that, yes, heckling and negative comments from fans is going to happen. Too bad. That's what happens. Oh, well, I have no sympathy, zero, for anyone. And all the wrestlers coming to the defense of Maxine at the time, including Rhea Ripley, as if Maxine is some kind of just fragile victim that can't hold her own. It's ridiculous. Grow up. Now, that's what I would have said to Maxine, and I would still stand by that today. But we've come a long way. We've come a long way from that Maxine Dupree. Is she still a final product? No, she's got a long way to go. But she's improving. You're seeing the fans rally behind her. Fans love an organic story. They love that new wrestler that comes along and you're like, they've got something. I'm rooting for them. I see improvement. That's a feel-good story. It's a tale as old as time. And this is a fun story with Becky, who was in peril. Let's get to the finish. She rolls out of the ring, grabs her title belt, starts to leave. Maxine went to ringside, got Lynch back in the ring, but Lynch still held the belt. As Dupree went for a sunset flip, Lynch held the referee briefly. Dupree gets a 2 count, and then Lynch hits Dupree with the title belt for the DQ finish. So Becky Lynch, in a desperation move, ends up hitting Maxine Dupree to retain the Intercontinental Championship. That does tell you that this is not over between Maxine and Becky. Do I think Maxine Dupree is going to win the Intercontinental Championship? Probably not. But it's not the Women's World Championship. You can make more of a case for it for Maxine, who's gaining momentum. I mean, she's on a momentum train right now. Fans are starting to rally behind her. She's likable. Fans saw her from a place where she was just a valet with LA Knight, if you remember back that far, and then doing silliness with Akira Tozawa and Otis, which she needs to just kind of separate from, I think, to now breaking out on her own, getting championship matches. Fans are along for this ride. And I think that if you put the belt on her, it wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world for this mid-card women's belt. But Becky Lynch is also doing a phenomenal job with it, I think. She's really adding a ton of value to that belt. A ton. And I give Becky Lynch credit. I criticize her for a lot of different things too, but I mean, she's doing a really good job. The only program I haven't liked thus far with Becky since her return is Lyra, because they had such horrible chemistry in the ring. I'm sorry, on the mic. On the mic. In the ring, they were really good. On the mic, they did not have it. So other than that, I mean, Becky Lynch, you could argue, should keep it for a little while, but you want to surprise fans, get a lot more momentum behind Maxine, you can give her the belt as well. So Maxine Dupree, never thought I'd spend this much time talking about her. She's not somebody you want to push aside anymore. She's somebody you kind of want to pay attention to, and she's the feel-good story for the women's division right now. All right. So we then had there's a video package with the Kabuki Warriors. Asuka said they need a new challenge and need new gold around their waists. We then have Pierce assume that Heyman wanted him to put Breakker and Reed back in the Battle Royal because they were taken out. Heyman said that, Pierce told him to say please, and Heyman obliged, and Pierce said that wasn't so hard, but then he told Heyman no and slammed the door in his face. And that's when Becky Lynch was staring at him. Heyman spoke about surviving the day, said there was still a vision that includes her, and Lynch wasn't buying any of it. And Lynch, again, had a really nice promo here in a style that you don't see too often. And I'll get to that in a minute. So she grabs Heyman by the tie and told him that his snake oil salesman crap doesn't work on her. Said she doesn't trust him, never has. She said she never trusted Heyman, and Seth didn't either. But Lynch said Rollins used Heyman and knew that he would turn on him. Lynch said Rollins was actually a little surprised that it took him so long, and Lynch told Heyman he would be nothing without Rollins, which of course is ridiculous. I mean, Paul Heyman, to say out of everything, okay, that's the one criticism, if I'm going to have one from just a logical perspective, to say that Heyman would be nothing without Rollins. Oh, I don't know, other than already having a Hall of Fame Mount Rushmore career. Yeah, other than that, Becky, again, way before Heyman and Rollins ever got together, he had already accomplished this. So yeah, sure. Heyman would be nothing without Rollins again, even though he's already had a Hall of Fame career, maybe arguably the best manager career of all time. Sure. But Lynch said that all the people Heyman surrounds himself with now and in the future would be killed by Rollins. That was kind of killed is a little, you got to be careful using that kind of language in pro wrestling. But Lynch said Rollins wouldn't kill Heyman, but he'd end up wishing that he did. So really nice segment here with Lynch, despite my criticisms, and Heyman. And what made this so effective, the content was good, outside of a couple of things that I just said. But the most important and the most effective part of this promo was the volume and the intensity and the intimacy of the promo. It was the camera mics catching it. It wasn't having her hold a mic. It wasn't in her usual promo voice. It wasn't in any typical promo voice where she's speaking for the crowd. It was as if she was only speaking to him and the cameras happen to catch it. Those are sometimes the most effective. The way she'd grit her teeth and speak through her teeth. She wasn't even concerned, at least that's how it appeared, that she was speaking loud enough for the camera to hear her. That style of promo, I don't know if I've seen in, I don't even know the last time I've seen it. It was just phenomenal. So hats off. Alrighty, we had a Women's World Championship, a non-title match, but the Women's World Champion. We had take on Roxanne Perez. So Stephanie Vaquer takes on Roxanne Perez. And this match, let's see here. I don't have a time here, but Stephanie Vaquer ends up beating Roxanne Perez. And the finish was Perez setting up for a move on the ropes, but Vaquer shoved her at Rodriguez, who caught her. Vaquer went up top, dove onto both heels, and then Vaquer got Perez back inside the ring and hit Angel Wings for the victory. Immediately, Rodriguez attacked Stephanie after the match, but lo and behold, thank goodness, we had the knight in shining armor. Nikki Bella ends up running out to make the save. She put Perez down, and then Rodriguez caught her with a really good-looking, almost scary-looking boot. And then Vaquer went up for a springboard move and slipped. And she came up holding her knee, and Vaquer and Bella cleared the heels from the ring. I haven't heard anything about an injury regarding Stephanie. That was clearly by accident. Those ropes do get slippery with sweat and everything else. I'm not faulting Stephanie for slipping. That is a high-risk move. and the risk didn't pay off in that case, and it looked like crap. The announcers didn't try to pretend it looked good either, which I appreciate. Just add it to the list of botches, the long list of botches on the women's side of things. They are cursed with horrible looking botches over the last couple of months. So just kind of add this to the pile. I'm not saying the women's division's on a massive decline or anything. It's just noteworthy. I don't even know what to do with the information other than to just continue to put it, in a pile and then do something with it. But the women lately have had some really just bad looking botches that you can't even cover for. I mean, they're embarrassing. But in this case, though, it was more of perhaps sweat on the ropes or something, or sweat on her foot or something slippery. And it is a difficult move to pull off. But more importantly than the botch is that the knee of Stephanie Vicaire that she was kind of limping on, hopefully there's no serious injury. All right. We then have, backstage, Lyra was talking with Adam Pearce when Bayley showed up. Bayley said she hadn't slept since they won their match the week before. And Bayley said she knew Valkyria's birthday was coming up, and Valkyria wanted to know what Bayley had in mind. And Bayley told her it wouldn't be a surprise, and she'd find out next week. So cliffhanger, massive cliffhanger. And I'm sure many of us are going to tune next week specifically to find out what the surprise is that Bayley has for Valkyria's birthday. I mean, that is a hook. So Paul Heyman then entered the dressing room. Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed were upset. Breaker said they arrived at the World Championship and that they don't even have spots in the Battle Royal. Heyman told them the story of Brock Lesnar, saying Lesnar listened to him and beat The Rock to win the title. Heyman said Lesnar got 434 days out of the title reign because he listened to him. And Heyman also said Roman Reigns listened to him, and everyone remembers Roman's title reign. So he's just trying to, encourage them. So we then have a battle royal spot here for the vacant world championship. And we do end up with LA Knight, Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso, Dominic, and AJ Styles, as you'd expect. And we did have, again, as I mentioned at the top of the show, the big spot that everyone's talking about, the one that's going to be the most discussed, is Jey eliminating both LA Knight and Jimmy to advance. And yes, Dominic, you're thinking, might have a chance, which was funny that he also was eliminated, but the refs didn't see it, so he put himself back in and gave himself a second chance. That's the kind of stuff they need to do with Dom. It's perfect. That's exactly what they need to do. It still didn't pay off, as Dom ends up getting eliminated again, and Jey Uso wins. And Jey Uso could say, hey, I had to take both of you out. I had to sacrifice you because I saw an opportunity to take out Knight, and it might not have gotten that opportunity again. So he could sell it that way, but Jimmy was none too happy about it. And LA Knight was, I think, an odds-on favorite to win that when you go in. But when you look at the logic of it again, I know a lot of people are mad that LA Knight didn't win. And once again, it's never seemingly the right time for LA Knight. We've been saying that for now years, since the LA Knight movement began. And it has had some staying power. I have to say, I'm very pleased over the last couple of years of how well the fans have continued to push for LA Knight. It's gone in ebbs and flows, but generally it's been pretty steady and pretty significant. So I do feel for Knight, though, because he's just the timing for him has been the worst part. The timing for him has been his Achilles heel. It's just always seemingly that they're aiming for Cody, they're aiming for Seth. Well, we got CM Punk back. It never seems to be that things align for Knight, or it's now it feels like it's Knight's time. It feels like they've always just got something bigger going on at the worst possible times for LA Knight. And by the time that they align things for him, it feels like he's going to get injured or something, some kind of divine intervention that'll take place where some cataclysmic event, we finally get Knight in the picture and then he gets injured. I'm not putting it out there in the universe, but I guess I already did. If you think my words actually have an effect on something like that happening, you're probably listening to the wrong show. But I do agree in the sense that LA Knight has seemingly been pushed to the side for other talent. I mean, he has. Actually, it's not seemingly, he just has. But when you look back, okay, what would you have done with Knight? What would you have done with Knight in the past years? I mean, you had the Cody Rhodes story that took up 2 years. I mean, he was completely cannibalizing the entire championship that Roman Reigns was holding. He couldn't go after Roman. He did get one chance at Roman, but we all knew it wasn't going to happen. So you can't say that LA Knight has never had the title opportunity, but how about this? He's never had a title opportunity where you actually believed he could win. See, that's the difference. Things for LA Knight have never shaken out where you're like, okay, he's got an opportunity here, but it's an opportunity you believe that, hey, he might be able to do this, man. That hasn't happened yet. It always is like, well, so-and-so just won it, or, well, they didn't get to this program yet, and Knight's a holdover, Knight's just a stepping stone. When is it going to be LA Knight's time? I don't know. Is it ever going to be LA Knight's time? I don't know. Yes, he's not a young guy in the pantheon of wrestlers. I mean, I think he's in his early 40s. It might be my age. And congrats to him for looking incredible. But it doesn't seem like they're going to ever make him the guy. They might give him a fun little run, a run that he can have a few months with as a title, as world champion, and the fans will go crazy, and it'll be a fun, feel-good time. But it doesn't seem like they're ever going to build anything around him. He's just a nice B+, A- guy that you might be able to make champion for a small amount of time, but he's not a centerpiece. That's how I feel that WWE feels about him. Okay. I could be totally wrong, but so far all the evidence points that way in the way that he's been booked for now several years. Like, we've had a large sample size. And this is just another opportunity, even though LA Knight's been main eventing for now a long period of time. He's been main events of Raw. He's been the main events of SmackDown, but he hasn't gotten that big win yet. And when you look at the most recent story, this past Monday, we had Jey Uso win. Okay, well, what would have happened if you had LA Knight win? Again, if the story is to turn Jey heel, and that's seemingly where they're going, you don't want to put LA Knight in a position to get booed against CM Punk, which in all likelihood probably would have happened. It would have been a mixed reaction at best for LA Knight. CM Punk's just a bigger star than LA Knight is. Kind of indisputable. Fans want to see at least CM Punk get a run with the belt, just like they want to see LA Knight. So I don't think they wanted to have the fans be forced to decide to choose to boo LA Knight. And I think if they had to choose, they probably would side with Punk. Again, it depends on the city. I mean, if they're in Chicago, forget it. Anywhere else, it would be a mixed reaction, 50-50, probably 60-40 leaning for Punk. But you don't want to divide the fans like that. It's easier to boo Jey Uso, who had just for all intents and purposes, a kind of a bad title run. He has been booked terribly since WrestleMania. He has had really bad promos. Jey Uso has been kind of flat. His character has been up and down. It's much easier to boo Jey Uso than it is LA Knight. So you can't put LA Knight in that spot. Timing, again, is not right. Sorry, Knight. I'm sorry. You got to do it when ideally there's a heel champion. We just had one, but now my guess is that CM Punk's going to win it. But you could have Jey. You could certainly have Jey Uso win it, and there's a rivalry built in with Jey Uso and LA Knight. But if they go with Punk winning it, do you really want Punk versus Knight? Do you really want that? And also, I don't think Knight's in the equation because regardless of who wins it at Saturday Night Main Event, whether it's Punk or whether it's Jey, you know that their first few title defenses at the minimum are not going to result in them dropping the belt. Especially coming off of a Seth Rollins injury that's going to anoint a new champion. You can't have the title keep bouncing. So I don't think that that's a good choice. Could they do it? Sure. I mean, anything's possible in wrestling. They can write the story. They can control the narrative. But I think you're going to have LA Knight, for me, my money, not be involved in the title picture, or at least be a real threat to the champion, whoever it's going to be, Jey or Punk, until maybe Rumble time. And again, you could look to the Royal Rumble for LA Knight possibly being one of the top 5 picks. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think. You can always email me, mailbag@wwepodcast.com, with your thoughts on LA Knight, and if you're furious that he didn't win, and but if you're understanding why he didn't, Or if you're just like, man, this is ridiculous. He should have won. This is why. I'm all open to that too. So email us, mailbag@wwepodcast.com. I'm interested to hear what you guys think about that. So that'll do it for me here on the Raw review, this 45-minute review. I'll be back in a few days with your mailbag, of course. And in between, we'll throw some retro shows in there as we always do, and maybe some other stuff. So head on over to Patreon, though. Get yourself an ad-free experience at patreon.com/WWE podcast. And we'll talk soon.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.